Today, I'm going to talk to you about the creation and the consumption cycles and how to mold them together. A year ago, I decided that I wanted to learn how to scuba dive. So this had been something that had been in the back of my mind ever since I'd worked on this television show where they'd gone to Tahiti and to the Faroe Islands, to these amazing places. And they filmed a bunch of scuba diving in the course of that show. And this show, they actually asked me at one point, hey, would you be willing to come and film this show with us? Now, I'd seen some of the footage, some of the amazing places that they'd been, and I really wanted to go. And they said, now you scuba dive, right? I didn't scuba dive. So in the back of my mind, I thought, oh no, like how am I going to go and film this if I don't actually do this thing? If I don't even know how to scuba dive, how to snorkel underwater. I knew how to snorkel, but I didn't know how to scuba dive. So I decided that I wanted to learn how to scuba dive. Now, when I started taking the lessons, I learned about consumption and I learned about expulsion, or basically what we do every day when we breathe in and we breathe out. And when what we are doing is we are consuming and we are producing. We're consuming oxygen and we're producing carbon dioxide. So I looked at this and I thought, that's really interesting. So when you are scuba diving, you have to learn how to clear your mask. The way that you do that is you push down and clear water here. So you blow bubbles and away from your nose and blowing bubbles so that it clears the water out of your mask and it fills your mask up with water, because you have to be able to see under the water when you are scuba diving. So I was doing this test. I'd been able to clear my mask several times in the shallow end. We'd done this and we had to do this test where we filled up our mask with water and then we swam blindly from one end of the section to the other end of the section. So we could still breathe because we had our oxygen coming in and out of our mouth, but our mask was filled up with water. And so I had to swim blindly. And I finished the swim, got to where I was supposed to be on the other side, and I was supposed to clear my mask. So I started producing carbon dioxide. So while I was trying to clear my mask, I was not looking up like I need to. I was not pressing on the right part of the seal. I kept trying to clear my mask by pushing the water down like this, pushing the mask down like this. So I was producing oxygen, but there was more water that was coming in the whole time. If I just pressed right here and blew bubbles, eventually it would actually clear. I would produce enough oxygen that it would clear my mask and I would be able to breathe. But I wasn't doing that. And it was interesting because I could still breathe in oxygen through my mask, through my mouthpiece, but I was not able to see. So I thought about this in the consume-produce cycles. So on the one hand, we have the consumption cycle. This is if I were breathing in oxygen, just breathing in and not ever breathing out oxygen, just inhaling. And what happens then is hyperventilating. We just breathe in, and never breathe out. We actually can't produce anything, and eventually we would die. Now, the opposite is true if we are just trying to breathe out, produce. Eventually, we would run out of oxygen and we would die. When you think about this cycle, you've got the consume and you've got the produce. If you don't have these two together, then they don't last very well. And the way that I see this happen sometimes is we as learners, as coaches, sometimes we get stuck in this side of the cycle, in the consume side of the cycle, where we just start consuming. We start learning. We take all the programs. We learn. And what happens with that is that we become bloated. We have all sorts of information, but we haven't shared that information. We haven't used that information. We haven't produced with that information. I almost think about this as almost like hoarding. So we have a neighbor who had a hoarding problem. And what happened was she would just buy. She would purchase, and she would buy things. And eventually her house began to fill up with so much garbage and so many things that she wasn't able to move around. She wasn't able to even move from room to room. They had to come in and clean out everything. And now she's in a much healthier space. She is in a different cycle. This is the cycle that I want us to be in the consume, produce cycle. If you notice, this has an infinite loop. It continues to go around and around because you consume and produce. Consume and produce. This is basically like breathing, like oxygen. You intake some information and you expel some information. You share that information. It goes out into the world and makes an impact on other people. So as you think about your business and what you're consuming, think about what you're producing as well. And make sure that you are balancing this. If you look, there is a balance between these two parts, between consuming and producing. If we just consume or if we just produce, that doesn't become sustainable. Think of it as breathing, as a part of your life. You consume and you produce. Consume, produce. And once you get this cycle down, it becomes so powerful that you start to build information and knowledge, and other people can consume from you, and they go out and produce things in their lives. If you'd like more help with this consume produce cycle, I'd encourage you to join me inside Lights Camera Action, where we take all this information that we have, that we've learned, and we actually do something with it. We consume and then we go out and produce. I'd love to see you inside of Lights Camera Action.